Question is, what happens when we're not connected
Yeah.
to ourselves
Like,
and
what
not
are some
expressing?
results from
Well,
that?
the results of that are really things that then get translated into having mental illness. So there's a sense of depression or sense of hopelessness, a sense of being disconnected from the public, a sense of being different, a sense of discomfort or anxiety, anxious about the future, feeling fearful that something's going to happen, maybe being at the effect of the world around us rather than being the authors of our lives. There's an opportunity, and we all go through that. That's the other thing. If my friend John was hearing me speak this morning, was hearing me speak now, after having spoken with me 2 hours ago about the massive level of disempowerment that I was in 2 hours ago, he'd just be cracking up. If he was over your shoulder right now, I'd be like, afraid.
When he watches the video, he will be.
Power. Somewhere in disempowerment, huh?
It's very easy to be disempowered. Yeah. This world offers many opportunities to be disempowered. Put me in front of the camera and give me some opportunity to be a help to others. And disempowerment looks like it's not associated with me, but I'm very, very capable of going into some very serious, dark disempowerment stages.
You're human. We're all human, right?
So very often when there are mass shootings, mental health aspects of what led up to the shootings are overshadowed by political debates. Means feel like there's a connection between a lack of self-connection and violent acts.
Yeah. But it's not in the way that you likely think I'm going to say. Maybe by now you're kind of figure, oh, yeah, he does think that, but he doesn't think that mental illness is what caused the shootings. And it's true. I don't think that mental illness caused the shootings. I think the treatment of mental illness likely contributed directly to the shootings. So if you took these medicines and you didn't even have the diagnosis or whatever it is you took it for, my submission is that you need to get the symptoms. They knew that these medicines were actually created to treat. Now, they weren't really created to treat that. They're created to treat that and cause the symptoms themselves. When someone blows up a McDonald's due to irritability or due to hearing from Napoleon or due to seeing dead people in the dancing on the tables, I would say that way more often than not, that's a result of the diagnosis they acquired for themselves, and maybe more heinously, the treatments that they're using, including putting toxic chemicals in their mouth that are causing symptoms that have them actually have that experience and make them look even more schizophrenic or more psychotic or more in touch or more out there, and in fact, maybe more angry and more incapable of being expressed or self-expressed or being heard or listening to others, such that sort of the water boils over and social acts of violence can easily be a result of that.
So even if they're not on medication, do you feel like there's a correlation between the lack of self-expression and whatever they end up doing in a violent way?
And yeah, I think so. It's pretty rare, to be honest with you, that someone's taking really good care of themselves and then committing violent acts. So the distance between medicines and food is very thin. Like the Food and Drug Administration are the same administration because it's the same stuff. Because food and drugs are the same. So what we don't know is the nasty stuff that we put into our mouth could just as well have been a Schedule 4 drug in some other definition, but we put it in our mouth, we then become what we need. And when someone's really watching what they eat and watching what they drink, watching their level of toxicity, not only in the way of food, but in what they see, what they hear, all sensory perception, then those people who then are also clearly, obviously not taking any medications of any sort are way less to commit acts of violence. And those people, by the way, would also be way more likely to be involved in things like being.
So what kind of advice would you give parents who want to teach their children having a healthy emotional outlet?
Watch what you put in your mouth and watch what you can hear and really help other people do at this number 11. Like really get the notion of how important service is. Like really get how important it is that just because you don't feel like being with other people, that isn't a reason not to be with other people. It's actually a reason to go find yourself being with other people. in the world of psychiatry these days, when you feel like pulling the sheets back over your head or not climbing out of bed or not eating or not showering or those things, they call that depression. And it really relinquishes your own responsibility for your life. Because then you get to say, I have a clinical depression so bad that I couldn't get out of bed. Rather than getting that one of the reasons you have a clinical depression or a depression at that magnitude is because you didn't get out of bed. If you don't get out of bed, if you don't get with other people, then you're going to have symptomology that supports the notion that you actually have a condition that caused it.
You said you treated hundreds and hundreds of people. How do you feel
Thousands.
helping so many people? Thousands? Okay.
Tens of thousands.
All right. How do you feel helping so many people through their emotional struggles, knowing that you saved many of their lives?
That's a really good question. And thanks for even putting it in my space for a second. I forget that. I'm human too. I forget that there's someone who has assisted people from not necessarily always stopping them from killing themselves, or that, in fact, they would have died if they would have not met me, but in the notion of really altering the pathway of their lives in such a way so that their lives become much more valuable and much more interesting to them as a result of having met respective beings. I don't know if there's any higher honor of being a human being.